When we think of the medieval era, what comes to mind? We imagine towering castles, armored knights on powerful war horses, and the gleam of polished longswords. These are the symbols of glory, of epic battles and chivalric romance that fill our history books and movies. But history, it seems, has a short memory. It often forgets the smaller, plainer tools that were far more important to the daily lives of millions. History forgets one particular blade, a simple, unassuming knife carried not by kings or knights, but by nearly everyone else. This was a knife that wasn't made for glory, fame, or tournaments. It was forged for one purpose: survival. Let's talk about the knife that history forgot. When we discuss medieval arms and armor, our conversations are dominated by swords, lances, axes, and polearms. These are the weapons of soldiers and aristocrats. But for the vast majority of the population, the farmers, the craftsmen, the merchants, a different kind of blade was essential, known today by names like the peasant's messer, or, more literally, the Bauernwehr, which translates from German as peasant's defense. This was the everyday carry of the medieval commoner. Unlike the ornate swords of the nobility, the Bauernwehr was simple, practical, and affordable. It was a tool first and a weapon second. Its design was brutally efficient, a thick, sturdy, single-edged blade, often with a reinforced point designed for powerful thrusts. The handle was usually made of wood, attached directly to the blade's tang with rivets. There were few, if any, decorations. This wasn't an item to be shown off. It was an item to be used day in and day out. This was the knife you used to cut rope, butcher an animal, or whittle a piece of wood by day, and the same knife you might rely on to defend your home and your family by night. It was the bridge between utility and self-preservation, a constant companion in a dangerous world. To truly understand the importance of this humble knife, we have to step into the world it lived in. 15th and 16th century Europe was not the romanticized realm of fairy tales. It was a violent, unstable, and often terrifying place. The authority of central governments was weak, and lawlessness was rampant. Bandit raids on lonely roads were common. Village feuds could erupt into bloody conflicts, and periods of famine could turn desperate neighbors into deadly enemies. For the common person, owning a weapon wasn't a luxury or a hobby. It was an absolute necessity for survival. While sumptuary laws often restricted commoners from carrying swords, which were seen as symbols of noble status, these practical, tool-like knives usually flew under the radar. Knights had their longswords, and squires had their arming swords, but a peasant's most reliable defender was the knife on his belt. It was a great equalizer. In the chaos of a brawl, a village raid, or a sudden ambush, long weapons like spears or swords could be clumsy and ineffective in close quarters. In the tight confines of a cottage or a narrow alleyway, a short, powerful knife in a skilled hand could often win the fight. Archaeological finds confirm just how widespread these knives were. They've been discovered all across Central Europe, from the farmlands of Germany and Austria to the mountain villages of Switzerland, silent testaments to an era of self-reliance. So, how was this essential tool constructed and used? The Bauernwehr was a masterpiece of functional design, born from the practical needs of its users. Blacksmiths forged these blades from high-carbon steel, which could hold a sharp edge for work, but was also tough enough to withstand the rigors of combat. The blade's defining feature was its thick spine, which tapered to a strong, acute point. This made it an exceptional piercing weapon, capable of punching through thick clothing, leather, or even finding the gaps in a suit of mail. The handle was built for a secure grip. Two wooden scales were riveted directly onto the full tang of the blade, creating a solid, durable construction that wouldn't fail under pressure. Some versions featured a simple, single-sided guard or a ring at the end of the pommel, offering a bit more hand protection or a place to attach a lanyard. But the real genius of the Bauernwehr was revealed in how it was used. Historical fencing manuals from the period, like those from masters such as Hans Talhofer, actually depict techniques for using these large knives. The fighting style was direct and brutal. Get in close, control your opponent's weapon arm, and use the knife to deliver powerful, decisive thrusts to vulnerable areas. It was the perfect weapon for a grapple. Yet its role in combat was only half the story. The same blade used for self-defense was also an indispensable multi-purpose tool. It prepared food, repaired equipment, cut materials, and performed countless other daily tasks. Modern reproductions made by skilled blacksmiths today reveal just how balanced and effective these knives were. When you hold one, you can immediately feel its purpose. It's not elegant, but it's solid, reliable, and incredibly capable. It feels like a tool meant for serious work. So why has this incredibly important blade been so thoroughly forgotten by popular history? The answer lies in its very nature. The Bauernwehr was overshadowed by the glamorous, high-status weapons of the elite. Swords were celebrated in art, poetry, and song. They were symbols of power, chivalry, and heroism. A peasant's working knife, however, received no such praise. It was simply a part of ordinary life, as common and unremarkable as a pair of worn-out shoes. But its ubiquity is exactly what made it so significant. These knives are found by archaeologists not in the tombs of kings, but in the ruins of farmhouses buried in fields and discarded in the moats of old fortifications. They are the artifacts of the 99%. They represent the reality of medieval life for most people. A life that wasn't about jousts and tournaments, but about hard work, constant uncertainty, and the grim determination to survive another day. The Bauernwehr wasn't a symbol of status. It was a tool of life and death, held in the hands of the people who truly built and sustained the medieval world. It's a quiet reminder that the most important historical objects aren't always the shiniest. History remembers the knights who fought for honor and the kings who fought for power. But it was this humble knife, the trusted tool of farmers, craftsmen, merchants, and common soldiers, that truly kept the medieval world alive. This was the blade that put food on the table, mended the broken cart, and stood as the last line of defense when danger came knocking. It was the forgotten blade, but it was never unimportant. Thanks so much for joining us on this journey into the past. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more hidden histories. We'll see you next time.